Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Jeremy Thornton. Just a little bit about me. I am a board certified internist, a chiropractic physician, clinical nutritionist. I've been in practice now for 28 years, mostly in the realm of functional medicine. And we work a lot with autoimmune disease, chronic inflammatory conditions, and such. Um, I came across this technology back in December when it first was released. I honestly was not terribly excited about a metabolic supplement. Anybody else tried like everything that's seems like everything that comes out and just not had much success. I just had not seen anything out especially in the realm of natural peptides that seemed to work. And so, being in the natural industry, I hear about all the new things, all the new, supposed to be the newest and greatest supplements that enter the market. And so I get a little bit calloused, and I'm sure many of you are like that. I know we have several health professionals on. Everybody brings you their newest supplement, right, to check out and to vet, and so you kind of get sometimes just burnt out on new natural supplements, especially when you see so much hype in the industry, and sadly, when I look into supplements, a lot of times that's all they are is hype. A lot of claims on what they can do and what they should do. And then when you dig into the science, there isn't any. And so, but here is different, and I'm excited to share. I'm glad I took a closer look, and I hope if you're on here and you're skeptical, I was there, right? I totally get it. But I encourage you to take a closer look to this because it is something special, something that's very impactful, something that can really impact a lot of lives in many different areas of their health. And so we're also going to share some new research on our IGNYT technology, which you may not have seen. It just was published last month. We're going to talk about the basics. So we have to cover about why this technology works, why it's important. And one of the exciting things is that it supports three GLP pathways. So we have a couple of different technologies. We have a sublingual called triGLP, tri meaning three, right? That's where we get the three pathways. And then we have a powdered supplement called IGNYT. So the same basic underlying technology in the salmon bioactive peptides, just different delivery systems, right? And so when we talk about GLP pathways, it's important just to know one, that the GLP is not a drug, right? Unfortunately, many people think that GLP-1 or GLP in general is a drug, and it's not. Very effective marketing, I think, but it's not a drug. It's a natural pathway in our body, natural hormone, natural peptide, natural pathway in our body. Now, certainly there are medications out there that mimic the GLP-1. They call them GLP-1 agonists. And I won't, don't get me started on that. But the GLP-1 pathway, the natural pathway in the body, has many important benefits. It regulates hunger at the brain level, right? It quiets food noise. It controls and helps improve insulin sensitivity in the body and the production of insulin and blood sugar balancing. It promotes sustainable weight loss. The GLP-2 is known for its gut healing capabilities, right? It repairs and strengthens the gut lining, improving that permeability of the bowel, repairing things like leaky gut, and reducing inflammation in the gut as well as the body. And the GIP has some overlapping benefits as far as the GLP-1 in that it also impacts insulin sensitivity in the body and improves blood sugar. And it also enhances metabolism, fat burning, supports sustained energy, it protects muscle as you lose weight. And also, one thing I forgot to talk about the GLP-2, when it's gut healing capabilities, it also improves absorption of nutrients. And that's one of the things we'll talk about in some of the research that it's showing is uptake of certain nutrients is improved. And so all of these three pathways are supported, enhanced by this technology, which is pretty special. There's nothing out there that's natural or prescription that is supporting three pathways. Eli Lilly has one it's very proud of that it wants to bring to market next year called Retta. And retatrutide is a three pathway injectable that they've already spent hundreds of millions on, right, in its development. And they put 56 billion aside for manufacturing. and expected to come out to the market at the cost of $1,200 to $1,800 a month. Does anybody want to volunteer for the first release of the Retta injection? Yeah, no, thank you. And we already have a three-pathway natural product without any side effects. And so more people need to know about what we have our hands on here. And I encourage you to help me get the word out. So just an overview of some of the research we already know about, some of the clinical results, the BMI reduction, the body fat decrease. What's exciting is we have 100% fat targeted weight loss. You know, the most popular drug on the planet right now is the GLP-1 agonist injectable. Well, they've got oral now as well. That has up to 40% of the weight lost is muscle and bone. Again, there are cases, there's purposes for GLP-1 medications was designed for diabetics, of course. I'm not against their use altogether. But I think if we have better alternatives, safer alternatives, why not take a look there, right? Why not start there? And we don't see the muscle and bone loss, of course, here, nor any of the other GI side effects. Improved energy and inflammation and digestion, which we talked about in those GLP pathways. There's research that dives into, there's so much research here, guys. If you have not seen the Orygn website, make sure you get to the person that invited you here. Ask to see their website because they have a whole section just on the science. And you can go in, you can read the studies, you can dive into it. But there's studies showing antioxidant gene activation and protection from oxidative stress, improvements for iron deficiency, anemia, muscle preservation, and enhancing muscle growth, cosmetic improvements in skin, hair, and nails, anti-inflammatory benefits. And these are just some of the benefits, some of the research that's out there. And we touch on this generally every time we get together, talking about some of the benefits. And as you can tell, that's a widespread of benefits, right? Many of you probably thought we were talking about a fat loss supplement, and I do like that aspect. Anybody else like the fat loss part of it? But what I hope to share with you today is it's such a bigger conversation. It's so much more than a fat loss supplement. So now I'm going to highlight, which is something I haven't done before. It's the first time I've shared this information publicly, is a new study that came out about the IGNYT powder. So that's this right here, right? And this was a pilot study. Of course, they do pilot studies just to figure out what things are doing, and then that usually will help them to decide if they're going to do much larger studies, right? So it's just a small pilot study, but I was really excited about what they found in this study on the IGNYT powder. So this was focused on the focus on this study was about aging and healthy aging and markers that are influenced in aging and in aging well. And so, you know, there's a whole science of healthy aging, and metabolic health is a very important part of the aging process and aging well. And because as we age, you know, oftentimes inflammation levels go up, body fat can increase, lean muscle often declines, right? Which is probably the most important thing as we age, is to try to maintain as much lean muscle as we can. And so the question was, can one daily ingredient support several parts of healthy aging at the same time? I'm excited to say that this does. And so this was only 14 overweight adults in this study, this pilot study, over 56 days, a randomized double-blind study. And they also were comparing the salmon bioactive protein, 12 grams a day, versus 12 grams a day of protein matched whey. So whey protein versus our bioactive salmon peptide technology, right? So that was the study. You can look it up if you want to. Let me back up there. It's in the Journal of Biomedicines. And so if you want to go check out the full study, you're welcome to look that up. So one of the things that they found, and we've seen a little bit of this before, was that it supports oxygen and energy delivery through the body. They found improvements in hemoglobin and improvements and increases in red blood cells, improvements in ferritin or iron storage, how much our body has put back away. And of course, if we have healthier iron levels, we're going to have better energy, we're going to have better oxygen carrying transport of the body. And it's important, of course, that we have healthy iron, healthy oxygen carrying, healthy red blood cells, of course. Other healthy aging markers that they found in this study, was super excited to see all of the inflammatory markers that were influenced by this amazing technology. So we see, as you can see on the top there, the inflammatory markers, interleukin 8, tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin 6, interleukin 12, and the reductions in those inflammatory markers. And that's some significant reduction in inflammation. Probably one of the things I was most surprised about with this was its impact on inflammation. And, working with autoimmune disease and chronic inflammatory conditions, of course, that's driven by inflammation. And inflammation, arguably, one of the underlying root causes of almost everything you can think of, right? And so, we see evidence of that all the time in customers that you all have worked with. I see it in my patients. We see it in our testimonial group, which if you're not in there, make sure you get an invite into the testimonial group. And you see people of all walks of life, all different health conditions. And across the board, we're seeing significant improvements in inflammation. Look at the blood sugar markers, A1C improvement of 5.5%, fasting glucose improvement as well. And healthy blood sugar is a part of healthy aging, right? We have to keep blood sugar under control because prediabetes, diabetes, insulin resistance drives inflammation in the body, drives a lot of the chronic health conditions and diseases that take us way too early. There was a combined score of 39% improvement in hair, skin, and nails in this study. They were using, in the study, I forgot to mention earlier, they were using 12 grams of the bioactive protein, which each stick is 4 grams, 4,000 milligrams in each stick. So they were using the equivalent of 3 sticks a day. You could look at it that way in this study, or 12 grams. Now, you certainly don't have to use 12 grams to see benefits with this, right? That's just the amount they decided to do on this study. We have people getting benefits from 1 a day. We have lots of people getting benefits from just 2 these sachets per day. But this study was specifically on 12 grams and comparing that to whey protein as well. So the fat loss study, let's see here, again, was the 12 grams. Saw a decrease of 10.7% in body fat, 7% decrease in BMI, 7.7% decrease in waist circumference, and 13.3% increase in lean body mass. That's some pretty exciting findings in a 56-day study. I was kind of blown away by that. I expected to see improvements in these areas, but so much in such a short time was surprising to me, and that's just super exciting results. Again, I know it's a small pilot study. We've got bigger studies coming on these areas, but the early evidence is very encouraging. And of course, we already have some other studies out, many other studies actually, besides this one, right? This isn't our only study on this technology. We have over 10 years of research, and I believe we're up to 10 published studies now. And that's why one of the many reasons this is different is because we do have the science. We have real science. Again, over 10 years of research and development, we have 50 million plus invested in research and continuing to be invested and continuing research, right? It's not a one and done. We researched it, it works, now we're done. They're continuing to find new things that this technology, this salmon peptide technology, can do in the human body. And so the more they study, the more exciting we get because we see that it does more than we ever thought it could do. And I think over the next 10 years, that's going to continue. We're going to continue to study this and find out that it's impacting health in ways we didn't know today, right? And that gets me excited. So we have a patented bioavailable technology. We have, again, many published studies. We have 13 FDA function claims allowed, which is just unheard of in the nutritional industry. Pharmaceutical grade manufacturing standards, right, direct to consumer. and one of the cleanest products, if not the cleanest product that you'll ever use in the natural medicine realm. When we say beyond organic and origin pure, it's really a new standard in purity that goes beyond conventional categories. And you'll often see a supplement maybe having one of these certifications. But to have this many certifications is really rare, again, in the nutritional supplement category. When we're talking about things like kosher certification and halal certification and HACCP and non-GMO and GMP certified and FDA, NDI compliant, which only happens about 30% of people that apply for that FDA, NDI designation, new dietary ingredient designation. And there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to ever get that. And so I'm excited to have a product that is so clean, so natural, so pure, when so many things out there aren't, right? Even in the nutritional industry, I'm sad to say there's a lot of junk products out there. And you can even just look at the ingredients and tell right away that this is a synthetic product, right? With synthetic vitamins, synthetic minerals. But those are cheaper, right? And oftentimes companies are looking to save money to make an inexpensive supplement so that they can make more money. And a lot of times they will cut corners and use cheaper ingredients. And I'm so happy that we're not about that here. And so you can see the carefully selected natural ingredients. The star of the show is the Norwegian salmon protein hydrolysate. Um, this is where all the magic happens, right? In the drops, we have the peptides along with some organic lemon peel, some organic ginger root extract, and some water. In the powder, we have the same bioactive peptides along with beet powder for color, a little bit of stevia, a little bit of natural cran and apple flavor, and a little bit of citric acid. And that's all the ingredients in here. Nothing on there that you can't pronounce or you don't know what it is or you have to go look it up. All clean ingredients. So the reason that I like to put this slide in is the perfect time for a natural breakthrough. And this, of course, are U.S. statistics, but many of you aren't in the U.S., but I know you'll vouch for me that this is a big deal worldwide, health-wise, is these metabolic health crises really throughout the world. The United States seems to certainly be leading the way, and that's not a good thing in these categories. But here in the US, 72% of adults are obese or overweight. 1 in 3 have prediabetes. 1 in 8 are diabetic, with 70 to 88% having some level of insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome. And that's scary in and of itself, right? The obesity and the blood sugar numbers are staggering. They are bad worldwide, however. But the reason, one of the other reasons that this is horrible is that it drives, again, all the big killers, right? The number one killer is heart disease. And this is a big driver. You know, the obesity and the blood sugar dysregulation drive heart disease, drives cancer, drives neurodegenerative diseases, the high blood pressure, you know, the stroke risks, all of these things driven by these. And we have now such a powerful tool that people can modify these areas, right? Now we have to do our part. You know, we can't eat McDonald's and drink Coke all day and expect we're going to reverse blood sugar and obesity with a supplement, right? But so many people are struggling with their health. They try to do the right things, but when you have insulin resistance, it's a struggle. You try to eat better, you try to move more, everything they tell us to do, right? To lose weight. And many people don't lose weight when they're insulin resistant. And so we have the tool to powerfully shift that specific aspect of the metabolic picture. And we're helping people to lose weight as well. When we do those two things, we are significantly prolonging life and reducing the risk of all of these big killers. And that gets me excited. But also,
yeah, so you just need to go in and
had to mute Debbie. So the also the perfect timing because people are looking for what we have our hands on here, right? In the US, 10% of Americans are already on a GLP-1 medication and 35% are estimated to be currently looking. So people are wanting what we have our hands on here. Just the GLP drug market size, you can see globally, 130 to 140 billion with a B last year, and estimated to be 240 to 260 billion by early 2030s. I really think we're going to hit that by 2030, not by the 2030s. And so this conversation is already happening, right? Everywhere you look, people are talking about GLPs, they're talking about peptides. And what an amazing thing that we have something to share that is safe, that is effective, that's natural, that doesn't have the side effects at a fraction of the cost of anything else out there. So the world is ready and waiting for a safe, natural option, and that's exactly what we have. Um, so anyway, I am going to wrap up this section. I think, was there anything else I wanted to share? I think that was it. So I appreciate you guys hopping on. I hope this information was valuable. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and God bless.